Big up people, big up people, big up, big up. I'm seeing in the chat they're saying, why? Is it Ames? Who's saying it? Why is the chat from yesterday still showing? Because the chat never dies around here, bro. Because the chat never dies. It's always here, regardless. It doesn't matter where we are. It doesn't matter what show we're on. The chat is always here. Let me see if I can find Miz. It's gonna be difficult because I've never added them on here before. But yeah, big up everybody. Big up everybody. Listen, there's no Eunice, there's no Bubba today. Oh, there he is. There he is. We're just having a one-to-one with our brother here. It takes me back to the days where I used to do my podcast, my old podcast, and I think I had a, was it me 2-1 because it was me Saj in those times there. I've sent him an invite now. Hopefully he'll be able to accept it. And yeah, man, there he is, bro. Yeah, I see you, brother. There we go. There we are. Okay, so now you're here. Now you just got to turn your... There we are. And you're muted as well. You're going to have to unmute yourself. There we go.
You hear me?
Oh, welcome, brother. Welcome. Welcome to Playback.
What is going on, bro? This is all too new for me, bro. I'm freaking out, Matisse. I'm freaking out. Help me.
Oh, man. As well, you
I
should
didn't
be.
know. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, where am I? This brother's gone live. I can't see anywhere to be seen. And then you sent me the link, and I'm like, no, you sent me the invite to join, and they're asking me your camera needs to be on. I'm like, dude, everything is on.
Do you know what? Yeah, considering that's your first time on here, you sorted it pretty damn quick because I know a lot of other people had a lot of issues. But yeah, as I was saying to the people, all you can eat Chelsea. There's no Bubba, there's no Eunice. It's a 1-to-1 this week, 1-to-1. I thought it was me 1-to-1 therapy. I really did. But it's actually
Yeah.
a happy show in isolation for that match. And
Yeah,
yeah,
bro.
man, bro, how you feeling after the win, bro? Because
Bro,
YouTube was
first,
giving a lot of difficulties yesterday for you guys. Bro,
yeah,
I couldn't believe what was going on. I was like, because usually I would do a video as well, but because Big
yeah,
Six was on, I had to do a stream. That's kind of my rules now. But I couldn't.
yeah.
I was there refreshing. After I did my playback, I'm like waiting for Eunice, waiting for Miz, waiting for. I was like, it's not coming up, and I had to go in the group chat. What's going on?
Bro, it was all mad. First of all, bro, I missed you. I miss all you can eat Chelsea. I hope the brothers are going to be back very soon so we can all reconnect.
Facts.
It's especially when it's good times. You wanna reconnect and talk and be all jovial about it. No, man, been good. I was like, man, full-time work just gets me tired, eh? Like yesterday, I just did not have the energy to do a watch along. I was just so beat up after work. Been very, very busy as well. So I was like, oh man, I can't wake up at like 2:30 a.m. again, and just my body's just not doing it. But I still watch the game. I just didn't have the energy to do a watch along. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my watch along would be like this. So I was up still though. Like I got up right on time when the match started, so got a bit of sleep in, and then it was a good match, Matisse. Man, I was very impressed. I don't want to be over the top.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased and happy, but at the same time, I know what this season has sort of taught us. Like every time you get too excited, you get beat down that quickly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we should be proud to praise certain men in that game, and hopefully we continue to see things like that for the remainder of the season. And we'll see, man. But it was a very good performance, a very mature performance, bro, from a young team.
Yeah.
And that was the highlight for me, man.
Yeah, man. Like you felt the team was a real unit, and we don't get to see that often. But because usually the team is dismantled and discombobulated, but this game, it was an actual unit. Like in the first half, bro, it was just everybody was working hard for each other. Everybody was good on the ball. No, it didn't feel disjointed. Cucurella and Caicedo looked like they played midfield together all their lives. You know what? People might be raising eyebrows when I say this, but Caicedo and Cucurella, that was a Jorginho Kovacic-esque type performance from them two in the midfield.
Bro, Cucurella, Matisse, you probably know this, and I don't know how many. Like, who's in this live chat? I'm not even sure what's going on here. Are there people in this? I can see something on my right side. Okay, so
you will
people
recognize
there.
a few. If Iceman turns up, which he usually does, we might have escaped him today.
Yeah, some people are saying hi, Miz. Hi to the live chat. Look, let me get used to what's going on here. Matisse has got me somewhere new, and I'm just trying to figure things out. But to all the people that know me, and I know Matisse knows this, I wanted Cucurella so badly from Brighton, man, and I was over the moon when we signed him, and we found out that Man City are not going to pursue him. I never stopped believing in this guy, even through all of this tumultuous times that we've seen. I've always said, nah, man, like I know the player I saw in Brighton because I was watching a lot of Brighton that Cucurella season because there was a lot of players that I liked from Brighton. So I was watching Brighton a lot. And I was like, nah, man, my eyes can't lie this badly from the player I saw in Brighton to the player I'm seeing right now.
Yeah.
And yesterday it was like, yeah, this is what I was seeing in Brighton. And honestly, Matisse, this guy, right? He can be a bona fide midfielder. Like he's got the skill set to be a midfielder. Not your box to box. I'm not talking about your box to box. Your genuine center midfielder that is technically very sound on the ball. I barely see him give away, like lose the ball like in a stupid manner. You know how you see some players, they just get dispossessed. He doesn't get dispossessed. You're right, man. This tactic of him inverting, I'm just wondering, why didn't you do this before? What clicked all of a sudden that this needs to happen?
Yeah, it's so out of the blue because in pre-season, I was saying in the call-in show yesterday, in pre-season there was a pass that Cucurella made in behind to Jackson against Newcastle. They were saying to me it was Newcastle, and he was actually playing in midfield, and he played the ball through the whole defense in behind for Jackson and got an assist. I think Jackson scored. And
I remember that. Cucurella was defensive midfield, and he put that. I remember that.
So
bro.
it's not like as if he hasn't done it before. And to see him busting a gut to overlap and trying to score and trying to stretch out the width of the pitch has never suited him. It doesn't make any sense. So we've seen masterclasses from him in the back three against Dortmund at home in the Champions League. He was incredible that game as well, playing left side in a back three. And then the other role that he can play, obviously, is in a flat four, but as we're seeing, inverting. I didn't even really see him doing this at Brighton too much. I didn't see him inverting into midfield too much at all. I don't remember him ever doing this, actually, at Brighton. So
He was. Was
he doing it?
Yeah, so there was a couple of phases. I think Graham Potter was still the manager over there. Yeah, Graham Potter was the manager. Initially he started off as a genuine left back. Do you remember Graham Potter was a back three guy?
Yeah.
So season before that, he was a back three guy. But for some reason, that season, he started off with a back four, and Cucurella was playing as a back four left back. And then he went back to his back three. Cucurella started playing as a left wing back. I still remember the game Brighton against Arsenal, and he cooked Tomiyasu on that on Brighton's left side and Arsenal's right side.
Yeah.
And he was playing as a left wing back. And then he started to play as an LCB that would drift into midfield. So in a back three, but he would push forward and make it an extra man in midfield. So it wasn't really a back four where he joined in as a midfielder. It was more as a back three pushing into midfield. So similar to what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, nah, this guy can do a lot of things tactically. And if he comes to Chelsea, I was more thinking because we had Thomas Tuchel back then. So I was like, if he comes to Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel with the back three, he can do a lot of madness with Cucurella. But yeah, look, it is what it is. Now we've got Poch, and hopefully he can continue this way until the rest of the season.
Yeah, man. It was such a good performance. And off the ball, this guy was like a dog with a bone, man. He was winning every tackle, intercepting every ball. He was almost like it was duplicated at some points, the way he was winning the ball back. He was so good. For me, I would have actually given him man the match. I was very happy for Trevor, but I would have given Cucurella man the match. That's how impressed I was, especially...
He was my man of the match. I mean, Trevor Chalobah was excellent, but for me, Cucurella was all throughout the game. My first tweet, I don't generally tweet that often during match now, like when I'm watching.
Yeah.
But my first tweet was in regards to Cooker. I was like, this guy is having a monster first half. I wrote that exactly at halftime. And yeah, like last few games as well, Cucurella, if you remember, Matisse, you know how he rushes out and he
Yeah.
loses the ball? He's stopped
Stop doing that.
doing that, and then he's reduced that error out of him. We still need to see that he's going to be like this for the rest of the season. But if he can negate away from that flaw of his game and just concentrate all the other assets that he brings,
Yeah.
boy, that left side will be rock solid. We just need some parts of our defense to be rock solid. At the moment, I feel very confident with Cucurella, man.
People also, obviously, because Caicedo had another insane game. So good.
Yeah.
Again, same
Yeah.
as Villa. So good. How much of that is down to, I guess, Enzo not being in that team now? Because that's what
Big
people will say.
conversation. Big
Yes, it is.
conversation,
People,
bro.
people,
Big
people, people are
conversation.
bringing it up now. It's like, is it because Enzo's not in the team? Is it because he's
What I
got?
tell you, Matisse, a while back, what I say, this guy doesn't fit this manager's profile. It's uncomfortable conversation, but carry on, Matisse, bro.
Let's have the conversation.
Let's have it, bro.
What? Because I mean, Enzo's out to the end of the season. If we see a massive upturn in performance, now I'm not even going to say results because the amount of injuries that we have is ridiculous. We yesterday was only able to put out an 11, and I've got a calculation that has been very good to me so far, which is 2 injuries per press conference. And it's very much a formula that works. It just doesn't ever give me the wrong results, and it keeps happening. So if we keep picking up those injuries, even one at this point now is going to take its toll on this team. So I'm not going to say results are going to be consistent, but if performances are still fairly consistent without Enzo in that midfield, and it's Cucurella and Caicedo, and Cucurella is not easy to shift. I don't even think people would move him on anyway ahead of Chilwell at this point. I think Chilwell, for me, this season, it was always between Chilwell and Cucurella. Which one of you is actually going to step up? Because we don't need 2 left backs on 200k a week, or one on 180 and one on 220. We don't need 2 50, 60 million pound left backs. I believe Ian Maatsen should be in this team next season anyway, in the squad. And even if the manager doesn't rate him, I still believe we should be getting a new left back in the summer, just because these two have been so up and down. And none of them are all-rounders. None of them really give us everything in terms of the full package.
Yeah.
Now, for me, Chilwell's the one that's got to be sold based on this season. But if this keeps going, what's the thoughts on Enzo with Poch? Because he said digs, bro. He said, I don't want to start names. The names, it's not about the names. It's about the team. I said, what are you talking about?
Bro, look, I and I know you love Enzo as well. I love him so much, man. He's such a fantastic footballer. I know a lot of people don't like him. They want to say that he's too slow for the Premier League. He's lightweight, this, that, the other. It's all the same things we've heard when they used to talk about this in regards to Jorginho as well. We know the kind of player we saw in Benfica. We know the kind of player that won the young player of the tournament in the World Cup. Like these are not small achievements. Like this is coming from a very talented player. Now, having said that, I think it was very obvious from the beginning that we could see this is not the profile of a player for Pochettino. There's a reason why Gallagher starts week in, week out, because he is the epitome of Pochettino's style of football. He needs engines all over the midfield. That's what he needs. That's what he wants. Enzo is not an engine type of a player. He's more your control, finding that pass. Do you know what I mean? I have a needle kind of pass. I'm not going to say he's slow tempo. He can be fast tempo if he needs to be, but Enzo needs people around him to make movements so he can find those passes. He's a very, very good player when it comes to build-up. But these are all the attributes that I'm saying for a manager that doesn't value all of these things. Do you know what I'm trying to say, Matisse?
Yeah.
Like, this is good for a manager that values all of that attributes. It's not good for a manager that don't value. So it's not a surprise Enzo doesn't play against Everton, we wallop Everton and we look fairly decent. Enzo doesn't play against Spurs and we do well. He didn't play against Aston Villa, and mind you, like we shouldn't have been 2-0 down in that game. And we almost ended up winning that as well. So,
Yeah.
Look, I've been saying, Matisse, that if Poch is there next season, bro, it's counterproductive. Like, just understand what I'm trying to say, right, Matisse? If Poch is there next season and he's forced to use Enzo, he's going to be misused. And Poch will ultimately have detrimental results in midfield because he doesn't know how to use him. And Enzo can't be the player he wants him to be. So if Poch is there, well, what do you do with Enzo? You can't keep him. Now, if Poch is not there, because that's still up in the air, then you have to get a manager that can actually get the best out of a player that you bought with so much money, that you fought with Rui Costa for.
Yeah.
And essentially you try and keep him. Surely you cannot be benching Enzo next season and get him to play off the bench. That's just too much of an asset to be a bench player.
Yeah.
Way too much of an asset. So that's where I'm at the moment with the Enzo situation. Poch stays. I'm sad, but I think we need to part ways. Find him another home or something like that. I know it's going to be quite impossible because who's going to pay that type of money for Enzo Fernandez when the stocks are a little bit down? We're not in a position to lose money.
I don't think Poch is going to win that fight because one of them is on a 10-year deal.
Yeah.
And the other one has 1 year left on his contract. And it's the manager.
So you think the manager is going to leave?
The manager will lose that battle. If it becomes between Pochettino and Enzo, I believe Poch will lose because Enzo is a bigger asset to the club than Pochettino. It's just down to the money and the figures and what they spent on each asset.
What do you mean by will lose? What do you mean by Poch will lose?
I think
lose his job.
I think if Poch can't get the best out of Enzo, unless we are really, really high in the table, and I'm talking we need to be going back into the Champions League, I think they'll look at the situation and say, okay, do you know what? You have developed some of these players. Madueke has improved. You know, we have seen some progression, but it's not enough to keep you in the job because when we talk about selling Enzo, how do you sell a £105 million asset? You don't.
It's too difficult. It's too difficult.
If you were to try and put Enzo into the market now, the most you'd get is probably about 65 million.
Yeah.
Max. In my opinion, right now, 65 million. So that's almost half. So I think the players that are on the long-term deals that also cost a lot of money are in positions where they won't be sold because those are the pieces that these sporting directors, they're the main pieces in the jigsaw. And if we have to sell Enzo, Caicedo, Mudryk, I'd say, let me just say those as a top three. I think then the sporting directors would be under pressure, even more pressure, because then the ownership will be looking at, if Enzo costs 30 million, easy. Okay.
Yeah.
Easy to ship. We'll probably even make profit, right? But
yeah,
the ownership will be looking at the directors saying 105 million just went out of our accounts last January. We don't know about football, but we do know about money. 105 million went out of our accounts, right? Not 105, maybe amortization, but whatever, just for the sake of the argument. And now you are trying to sell him for 60 about 18 months later. That's not going to fly with us. We're not doing that. This is meant to be, if there's one thing this is not about, is making losses. That's one thing I do know. I don't know if they're trying to win trophies. I don't know if they're trying to make profit on some players. I don't know what they're trying to do. But they're not trying to make losses on those players. So those players are not meant to be leaving anytime soon because no one's paying 150 for a profit margin. So if they see that in their accounts, they're going to be like red flag, red flag, red flag. And then they're going to be under pressure. And the sporting directors are in charge of the manager. So if they know that their asses are going to be on the line for players like Enzo, they're definitely not going to allow the manager to put their asses on the line. So that's going to fall on the manager. You couldn't get the best out of one of our best players or one of our most expensive players. I'm afraid your contract has got 1 year left. You are very easy to terminate because your package is not that
Do you think?
much.
Do you think Poch can find the best out of Enzo? Do you think?
I want to see when Enzo returns from surgery, because at this point now we don't even know. I don't even know how long he's been playing with this pain. So I don't see him as like a Jorginho in terms of mobility. I think he can get around, and for sure.
Yeah.
Listen, I think they're gonna have to meet in the middle. I don't think Enzo should be doing shuttle bus runs like Szoboszlai. But I do think he can get around the pitch if he's fully fit, not playing in pain with no injuries. That Argentinian side was a very aggressive,
Yeah.
assertive team. There was no room
Yeah.
in that team for anyone that was not at the pace, not at the races. So I do think there's a middle ground to it. I don't think it has to be completely in a Pep way, or in a De Zerbi way for Enzo, because I don't think the Argentinian manager was playing that style. But I also don't believe it needs to be all the way in this Poch, consistently, shuttle bus. It needs to be a blend of both. So we'll see. We'll see when he comes back. He's not going in the summer, that's for sure. That
My issue with the whole thing is, I hear what you're saying. Like, he has to meet in the middle, but if I have Poch staying next season, I don't want him to compromise. Like,
no, you don't.
do you
Otherwise,
know
how
what I'm
can you
saying?
judge
Like,
him?
how can I judge? Like, if I handicap this guy, how can I judge this guy? Do you know
He
what I
will be
mean?
handicapped. Yeah.
Like, what's the point of hiring a manager and giving him the duties to run your football club? And then I handicap him. Do you know what I mean? Like, I go, I'm not going to give you your players. I know the kind of style of football you play, but I'm not going to give you your players. And you're going to have to find ways to figure out how to utilize Enzo. When clearly this manager is not used to this. Like, every manager has their ways. Like, we want them to change. They're not going to change. You look at Ange Postecoglou. People are now starting to doubt him. He ain't going to change. This is what has brought him success all his life. He ain't going to now come to Spurs and change his methods all of a sudden. And change doesn't happen, middle of a season or end of a season. Change happens during preseason. They work on it, and then they try and implement that, and they try and keep on with it. We can't ask Poch to all of a sudden play more possession-based football. That's not what Poch has done. Wherever Poch has gone, he's played robust, high intensity, high line, press from the front, all the players always energetic. That performance that Madueke put last night, Matisse,
Yeah.
that's what Pochettino wants from every player. Off the ball, like a dog, you're not going to get past. On the ball, you're robust, you're taking players on, you're running up and down. And for 90 minutes, you're doing that. He ain't going to get Enzo to do this. So I don't want, if next season Poch is here, once again, he's handicapped.
But he will be,
If he's
because
here, bro, he needs to be fully equipped. Fully equipped.
for me, he's always going to be handicapped because the amount of players we signed without his necessary backing. There was a report that said he's not even co-signed any of these players we brought in. And that wouldn't shock me to a big degree, because when he was at Southampton, I'm pretty sure they shopped in-house. When he was at Spurs, I'm pretty sure they shopped mainly like in-house. A lot of players came from Southampton. A lot of players came from the academy.
Yeah.
In
A lot of
league,
Premier League
in-house.
players.
Yeah, a lot of in-house and in-league signings. And that worked for him because I guess those players suited what he wanted to do. These directors have shown that you as a manager are not in charge of you're not involved or in charge of the recruitment. The recruitment is down to us, and we are the ones that are bringing in the young players, and we're trying to make sure that there's a potential, profit margin on those players as well. Outside of the big hitters that I mentioned earlier. So I don't see that changing. There was reports before that Pochettino is going to have more of a say going into the window. I think that was for January, but we didn't do anything in January. So so that was null
And I
and
don't
void.
think he had any say, because I don't know whether he rated Broya or not, because he kind of sounded like he rated him.
Yeah.
And then Brea was gone. Do you know what I mean?
And the
So
replacement
I'm
was
not
going to be
really.
Duran. If Duran wasn't injured at the time, that was the
I think it
replacement, was Duran
happens,
at Aston Villa.
and
But
then he
yeah,
plays for us.
yeah. And I don't think Poch ever really would look at Duran and say, well, I've got loads of young forwards. Let me add another one. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think he's gonna always have some form of handicapped um situation for himself regardless. Most managers do at this club really throughout even Roman's era. You could say some of them maybe were handicapped because they weren't involved in the recruitment, or they're using somebody else's squad, um using other people's leftovers or dead wood. This is how we are. When you make so many signings and turn over so many managers, it's literally impossible to have someone's team, like that's their team, that's them. There's always
mm,
someone else's team that you're using. Um, and it's strange that in the end that Tuchel, like someone mentioned in the chat, because Tuchel was actually happy to not be involved in the recruitment at all, and he didn't want any part of that. So he was never gonna say, "Oh, you guys, you didn't involve me in the recruitment," because he didn't never want to be involved in the first place. But obviously, when he
yeah,
was gone, obviously they needed him to be involved because they didn't have anybody, and now they don't want him to be involved because they have people. So it's a bit of a mess there. Um,
yeah. It'll be
yeah,
interesting, bro. I think it'll be
so-
interesting. It'll be very strange to start seeing Enzo being benched, which I think should be the case if Poch is there next season. But then I don't want to create a negative vibe of Enzo being such a big time player for Argentina and he's benched for Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the Argentinian media ain't going to take that lightly. And I just don't want more. Matisse, next season,
Mm,
brother, there is no room for error anymore. Like, that's it.
yeah.
It's finito.
But
Two seasons.
this is the
Do you
thing.
know what I
Like
mean?
if I think if you're gonna start devaluing Enzo and almost writing off, not you, but I'm saying like us as a
Yeah,
club,
yeah, yeah.
if we as a club are gonna start like denying Enzo, or not denying, but kind of like diminishing Enzo's involvement and his importance, you have to be very sure that you're giving Pochettino a new contract
Yep, yep.
and he's staying longer than just next year. Because otherwise, you're just killing two birds with one stone. You're saying, right,
Mm,
Enzo's gone, or Enzo's on his way out because he's not involved next season as much.
mm.
And then Pochettino, if he's on his way out as well, then what was the point in that?
No point. 0 point. Do you know what I
So,
mean?
because I still believe, and I don't think I'm not gonna change my opinion based upon what he does here. I'll be honest. There's certain players that if I just rate you, I just rate you. And I believe that at some point it's gonna click, obviously, regardless of whether the manager and the player are aligned. This
Mm.
guy's passing range is so good. What I saw last season under Graham Potter,
Oh,
his passing range is so ridiculous that if he leaves here, he's not leaving to a mid team or even a
no way.
decent to
No
good team.
way.
He's going to a top team.
100%.
He's going to a top team. The only teams that are coming in for him are top teams. Know that for a
Bro,
fact.
Man City, Real Madrid, maybe even PSG. Um, he'll have suitors. There's no two ways about it. There is absolutely no two ways about it. So who knows? Maybe even a Premier League team. Maybe even Arsenal. Who knows? Do you know what I mean?
Can you imagine? Arsenal are like, oh, we need that left side midfield position filled. Yeah, I'll have him.
Honest question though, Matisse.
Yeah,
Arteta would know exactly what to do with Enzo.
of
He will know
course, of course, of course,
exactly what to do with him.
of course.
So
And Arteta, pains me to say it, but Arteta's found this blend between I can control games, I can sit off and defend deep and counter. So he's got a multitude of ways to approach the game
yep,
now, which
yep.
which has taken some time for him to bring to the team. Maybe Pochettino, if he was given that amount of time, would be able to do the same. But I do also go back and say that Pochettino is experienced. He keeps telling us his age, keeps telling us he's been around the block. So I'm not expecting it to take as long as Arteta, because Arteta, that was his first ever job. and the resources are far greater. Even though you're not using them, I guess you're not spending them. Still, the resources are far greater. What? Who else stood out for you yesterday in terms of
Madueke stood out hard.
against
Madueke,
Emerson
I
Royale, bro?
don't.
Tobes was cussing Emerson Royale on Big Six. He was fuming. And you know what's so funny, right? In Fuad, I've done a lot of shows with Fuad over the last couple of days. We've done Big Six now. We've done SDS, done FCM, and he's been saying to me, and I said this in my preview, that Van der Ven needs to go left back in this game, and Dragusin needs to come centre back, because there's two problems at Tottenham. One, their left backs are injured. Two, they're awful on set pieces. So they needed to get an extra centre back in there and try and mark up a bit better. And obviously Van der Ven's got ridiculous pace. And Madueke, his 1v1 ability, I would have actually, if I was a neutral watching that, Emerson Royale was always going to get cooked. Madueke is one of the best players 1v1 in this league. I'll say that outrightly.
Actually, he is, on that from the right side. Yeah.
Bro, 9 times out of 10, if Madueke is taking you on, he's going past you. Like, it's not even a joke at this point. But if it was Van der Ven over there, I would have been very interested to see how that would have gone for Tottenham. Tottenham, it would have put them in a better position, I think, if they had Van der Ven, because Van der Ven's so quick, his recovery is ridiculous. Even if Madueke gets past you, he could then catch up to you, and then So I thought that was a bit of a misstep on their part, to maybe go to a back three, play Van der Ven, play Dragusin, play Romero, and let Porro maybe tuck into midfield or move forward and match us almost in the systems, match us like for like.
Do you know what? Like, obviously Spurs, maybe from a tactical point of view, screwed up, like what you just said. Kind of makes sense if Van der Ven was on that left side. But I'm not even thinking about, I always knew whoever was going to be on that left side for them, and obviously Madueke being on that right side, he's always good for the money when it comes to 1v1 take-ons. I was more impressed with his off-the-ball Matisse. Like, yesterday was the first game where I felt, whoa, you dog. Like, I like that attitude. Like, off the ball, tracking back, intercepting. Barely anyone went past Madueke, They were trying to go past him, and he would just stick his leg out, win the ball, win the duel, and then start a new counter-attack. That's what impressed me, because I know what Madueke can give me up front in terms of 1v1 take-ons. But what was concerning at times is he's never coming back. He's never helping out the defense. And it's whoever's on the right side is on their own. Yesterday, he had the total game, up and down total game. And when he does that, and what I liked about him giving that game, he wasn't puffed out or anything. Like, he wasn't panting, he wasn't tired. It looked like, I can go another 30 minutes of this battle. Like, let's go. And I think yesterday was the first time I felt that's a Pochettino player right there. Like, Poch is worked on this guy, I think, over the last few weeks, so on and so forth. And we saw the clip after the match, Pochettino hugging him, talking to him, giving a slap, pushing him, and he said it post-match in the press conference. He said Madueke had a top game, top game. And he emphasized on off the ball. He loved his off the ball. We have to understand the word selection of this manager in the press conference. He is big on off the ball. You will barely see Pochettino talk about on the ball. You won't see him saying, that he did unbelievable stuff on the ball. Do you guys remember what he said about Cole Palmer a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
He could still improve. Better off the ball. This man is always talking about off the ball. It is not about on the ball for him. It's about working off the ball, win it high, and do the damage up front. So for me, look, Madueke, once again, this is a player that I've not rated all throughout this season, if I'm being absolutely honest, because I feel like there's so many areas of his game that he needs to polish. The one part that I do want him to really polish up, Matisse, do you remember in the first half, he cut in from the right and then he took the shot with his left?
Yeah.
That's the shot I need to go in. Like, that is the one. That is his trump card.
The Iron
Him
Robin.
playing on that right. Yeah, that is his trump card. That is his game. Like, from the right, cutting in at the edge of the box. The defender's in no position to defend that, and he's got that open body, and his left foot. Yeah, that's got to go in. That is
Yeah.
a in. That's a sinker. That's a
Yeah.
slam dunk right there for you.
It's the reverse of Coutinho cutting in and curling
Yeah.
it into the far
And you
corner.
know when Coutinho's doing that.
Oh, you know, it's
Okay.
finished.
It's
Yeah.
it's
When
it.
when
It's it.
Coutinho, bro, when Coutinho used to cut in on that right foot from that
It's
side, it's
finished.
finished. It's finished. Before the ball's even being shot, it's finished.
Yeah.
It's
And how many
mad.
times he's done that with against Chelsea as well?
Yeah,
Coutinho
yeah.
cutting in like
It's
that, and you're
mad.
like, oh fuck, we're dead, man. We are finished. So yeah, I need Madueke if he can just concentrate on that. Because if you remember just a couple of days ago, Amari Hutchinson cutting in like that.
This is what
and
I
he
want to talk to you
banged it.
about. Bro, what is this stockpiling of left-footed right wingers, and where are the right-footed left wingers? Because Sterling, I don't think he'll move in the summer. I'm going to make a prediction to you that I said on one of my shows. I don't think the left hand side is moving next in the summer. I don't think Chilwell's going to go because his team lacks leadership after losing Silva. They're gonna say that we need our vice captain, we need our leadership, we need our speakers. Cucurella is not going anywhere. He's been performing. Mudryk is not going anywhere, and Sterling is not going anywhere. The whole left-hand side is not even changing. It's not changing. Matson will be sold for pure profit. The whole left-hand side, especially if this manager stays, this left-hand side is not changing. The right-hand side now, Madueke, Amari Hutchinson is balling out at Ipswich.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting about him. My bad. You know, but we got a lot of right sides. Angelo's out for the end of the season for Strasbourg.
Yeah.
Palmer and Kendry Pires is coming in the following summer, I believe. And now we're
not next season. Season after.
The season after. Now we're adding in Messinho. Apparently, reportedly.
Bro, I don't know who this guy is, bro. Seriously. I can't get hyped up. Like, a lot of people are saying a lot of stuff. But do you know much about this guy? I've never seen this guy.
Of course not. And now, the only thing I do know is that he's a bigger talent in his team than Washington was. When they
Washington's the barometer.
No, he's not. He's not barometer at all. He's one of the players that, listen, I don't really, obviously I don't know him and he's not done anything to me, but he's one of those players that I marked down as, why did we do that? What was the need? Same with Cassidy. But players like Endrick and Messinho and Kendry Pires and they're meant to be the special ones over there. They're the special ones.
Is special. Kendry Pires looks very special.
They're part of the special ones. I don't know if these two faced off in a recent match in South America. I think they did. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Kendry Pires plays in the Ecuadorian league and he plays in the Brazil. Now, I don't know whether they would have met each other.
Did they not face off in some sort of
Libertadores? However,
yeah, something like. Let me see if I can find it. I think these guys did face off. Let me see if I can. I'm pretty sure.
Do you know this Messinho? He don't start that often for Palmeiras. You know that. Like he's
no, bro. I think he is like. Was he not on the cusp of only just making his debut? He's a kid. Yeah, he's a kid.
Yeah, like he's only played like 3 games or something.
I don't even know about. I'm not even sure on the game time because you know me. I'm only focused on the first team acquisitions right now, not the future ones. So I ain't really got time for all that. But let me just put this in the background while we talk because I know this is the game where he played against Palmeiras. So this is the game that I'm assuming Messinho and Endrick were both playing in. I don't know if I can get. But yeah, I'm assuming this is the game. So they did play each other recently because I remember the TL was going crazy. What a finish this was! Beautiful combination play,
unbelievable finish from Kendry.
I know the TL was going off because these two were meant to be playing up against each other, and there was 4 talents that were named. One was Messinho, one was Kendry Pires, the other one was Endrick, and there was one other one as well. I can't remember who he was. I think he was on Palmeiras.
Bro, this Kendry Pires, he looks the part, bro. He looks different for a kid.
Do you know what position I'd love to see him playing in? Is the Odegaard position, if we had that in our team.
Nah, I'd rather him with all the space on the right, bro. Do the damage. Cut in, cut out.
Because where you see him picking up the ball,
From these areas. From these areas, you know what I mean?
So, but my envision is Palmer would go back to the right or Madueke, but probably Palmer, right? to begin with, because look at the season he's had with gusto. And Kenji Pires would play more centrally, but off the right. So if you play the midfield three, Kenji Pires will maybe play to the right of that midfield three. My only concern would be is I think if you do that, you have to make the other two kind of be pretty robust, defensive-minded midfielders just to counterbalance. I don't think you could play a midfield, as much as it sounds great on FIFA. I don't think you could play a midfield of Kenji Pires, Enzo, and then Caicedo as the six. And then Palmer as well. Like, I think that would probably be overkill from a physicality standpoint. Unless you was going to dominate the ball. You would have to dominate the ball so much. Make sure you are a footballing team. Then it might work out for you. It'd be a beautiful thing to see. But
it's still a while away. There's many ifs and buts and this and that. And who's going to be that season when Paez is here? Does Paez just come into Chelsea and just start from the get-go? Like, there's too many. Hopefully Paez just stays fit. That's number one. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's not get carried away as to what's going to happen then. But yeah, man. I mean, so you think on the left side no one's going to get sold, but on the right side, do you think is anyone going to go from that right side?
I think if Ipswich are getting promoted, Borg, I think probably potentially the same could happen with Andre Santos. Maybe they both just go back to Strasbourg for one more year. Especially, I think Okuchukwu, something needs to be done with him as well. I don't know what's going to happen, but if we are even thinking of bringing in a midfielder, a six, more physical, maybe Pochettino profile, then Okuchukwu needs to go out on loan because we need to make room. Bring him back in January, he didn't bring him back, so that tells me that he's not really thinking about him right now.
Okuchukwu is more of a Pochettino player.
Well, he's just taller, isn't it? He's just taller. But for me, I think if you're taking next season seriously, you should be bringing in a Paulinho type midfielder for Pochettino, and you should be loaning out on Okuchukwu. Okuchukwu should just be loaned out.
Yeah.
Because imagine now if you put Paulinho next to Caicedo, or you put Paulinho next to Lavia, suddenly there's a lot more balance in terms of, okay, we was lacking height on the set pieces. Now we've added in potentially. Now, if you just add a striker to that who's, again, going to defend the near post like Drogba did or whoever, I'm not saying that it's not going to be Osimhen in my opinion, but a striker that is good in the air, then suddenly you've just improved your aerial situation by quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, yeah, you're right, bro. Okuchukwu, I don't think he's going to go to Strasbourg. You know, when he was in Liga, like he was playing for a higher team than Strasbourg. I'm pretty sure. I think he was playing for Nice.
Yeah, he was playing for Rennes.
Yeah, so
and they
were higher than Strasbourg.
Yeah, they were higher.
So I don't think he's all of a sudden now going to.
No, he needs to go to a Prem team.
Really. How this goes down, Matisse, like expecting other clubs in the Premier League to develop our players, it doesn't always go down well because they're not in the business to develop our players. They're in the business to stay. We saw that with Nottingham Forest. We saw Billy Gilmore with Norwich. I don't remember not too many Premier League loans. As I think Armando Broja worked out when he was in Southampton. Gallagher worked out when he was in Palace. David Datra Fofana is in Burnley now.
Yeah,
I think last game he didn't start. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see what happens, man. All I know, we don't need to go out there and just splash and buy everyone. We don't need to do that.
Yeah,
I think some players need to go. I still have some. Look, Mudryk played a good game as well, Matisse. He played a very good game. Still a few bits and pieces where he can sharpen up. Of course, there's a lot of things he can sharpen up. I still think Mudryk, he might be one. When Chelsea considered him to send him on a loan in January to Bayern Munich, well, Bayern Munich apparently came knocking on the door. That tells me that maybe there's room for this guy to probably go on a loan or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like the club was considering to letting go of him. So, yeah, let's see what happens, man. I don't know about the Mudryk situation. I think Madueke has a little bit more about his game than Mudryk. Yeah. But there needs to be a shake-up. There needs to be a little bit of a shake-up, bro. Like, Are you confident going in with what we have right now to next season? I know we need a striker. Are
Yeah.
you confident again next season with
No.
Sterling, Mudryk, Madueke, and all these? Like,
No. The right wing for me is okay because Palmer can start. Madueke could be on the bench, which is how it should
yeah,
be. And if
yeah.
Madueke is playing well, then he can start. And then obviously Palmer got moved. The left wing I'm not happy with. I think Mudryk should be in Madueke's position, which is if you're playing well, obviously you can start. If you're not, you're on the bench. But I don't
Mm.
trust Sterling as my starter at all. I don't trust
I think
Sterling
we
as my
forget
starter.
Nkunku as well. Nkunku is potentially someone who can be on the left side, I suppose.
I I don't like Nkunku on the wing. I don't like him up front. He kind of needs to be central for me, but I can't even trust this guy to stay fit right now.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I kind of just don't even I don't even want to place too much importance on whatever comeback he has because he could just be out injured again after that. Carney Chukwuemeka is another one.
Mm.
But he keeps getting injured. He's got a knee issue. I don't know what's going on there. It's tough, man. It's very dependent on our medical team. As much as we talk about managers, tactics, it's very dependent on our medical team. If we bring in players and they get injured,
Yeah, man.
our summer might become pretty irrelevant if we bring in these players. Maybe we bring in 3, 4 floor raisers, and we're like, yeah, those are those are 3 or 4 experienced players. Say it's realistically, say one centre back, one
Mm.
keeper, one DM, and one striker. And we're like, yeah, that's a nice spine of the team there. But if we can't keep players fit, then what's the point?
It's long. It's long, bro. Yeah, man. The medical team definitely needs to be better next season. But I still want to put some emphasis on players that what are they doing as well, Matisse, to make sure your body's looked after? Like players should know their body better than anyone.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
why are they getting injured over and over again? And then it looks like
But
Pochettino recently in the press conference he took a lot of
he's been
he
taking a
felt
lot of
insulted.
shots.
Yeah, no, and he felt insulted. He said that is not nice how he keeps hearing that it's his training intensity that's getting players injured, and he actually said that in the press conference that is rude. Like indirectly, he was saying
It's
that
an
is rude.
assumption. It's an assumption that people have made, but we're not at the training ground, so we can't really say that it's definitely him. And the thing is that because that we've had issues with injuries previously anyway, with other players like Kante and Kova and Loftus Cheek and Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic and all these
Mm,
guys,
mm.
we have to remember we are also probably culpable. I don't know who it is. I don't know what the problem is. We will never know. We can't really play a guessing game. So I
Because
understand why he's annoyed because he's an experienced coach. He should know what he's doing on a fitness, especially when he's got Jesus Perez, which is literally all he's there for, which is to maintain the fitness of the group. That's his specialty.
and it's even more concerning when the couple of players that you said, Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Pulisic, they're in Milan and they're not injured.
Mm.
Like I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek might have missed out on a match here and there through injury. Pulisic as well, maybe a match here and there, but overall they've been very, very fit. So what are they doing there as opposed to what they were doing here?
Running a normal football club.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a strange one. Like, I feel like some of these players probably. I honestly wish at the end of the season, if a player like Kani Chukwuemeka
Mm.
or a Reece James or a Nkunku just came out and did an interview and talked through their injury, like what happened, what were they doing, how they get injured, what were they doing before the injury, what were they eating, where were they sleeping, were they stretching? Because how else are you going to get to know, right, Matisse? If you don't do a full research about the entire thing, how are we
Yeah,
meant to like pinpoint? Okay, well, this is why you got injured.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, it can't just all be coincidence. Or that's what God wanted. God wanted you to be injured then, and that's what happened. No, like we need to find out exactly what happened. What went wrong? Surely
mm.
there has to be a reason behind all of this because it's not one off. These players are getting injured over and over again.
Bro, we ain't even playing matches. So it's nothing to do with the matches. These players are getting injured. They're fine at full time, some of them. And then by the next press conference, they're injured.
They're gone.
So what is going on in between that time?
Do you know what that tells me? The recovery. See what you just said. Match finishes, and by the time the next one starts, they're injured in between. So is it the recovery? Like they're not recovering properly. What is it? Do you know what I mean? Like what's going to happen at the end of this match that just finished until the next one? What's going to happen in between them?
Well, bro, I told you it's two injuries per press conference. That's what it is. That's what it is, man. I mean, I'm not actually expecting 2 fresh injuries today. Is the press conference today?
You'd think it would be because the match is on Sunday.
Yeah, so. It has to be kind of, but it's also really soon, isn't it? So I don't know. But if we got 2 injuries on this press conference, I'll be shocked. But
I'd be if we get 2 injuries, who we bringing in like that Achiam Pong or
whatever? Yeah, it will be one of them. It'll be one of them brothers. 100%.
I had no idea. Who was the second brother, Matisse, that came on? This other guy. Tioverinin, whoever he was.
Yeah, I can't even pronounce his name, actually. I'm not even sure.
You have troubles pronouncing, let alone pronouncing the real hard ones where I can't. You butcher the simple ones,
Facts.
let alone the complicated ones.
Exactly. Oh, my days.
But yeah, man, Madueke was good. Chalobah, you want to talk about Chalobah?
Chalobah was very impressive. Very impressive. Like
would
some
you
of the
sell him?
No. I would sell Disasi actually before Chalobah after seeing the season. And I actually like Disasi's personality. I do. However, if we're gonna defend with a 4 in a high line, it feels like we need defenders that have good recovery pace, can defend really well in wide areas, which he can't, on top of obviously being aerially dominant. So I just look at him and think, yeah, we could improve upon that. That wasn't 45 million's worth in the end.
And make better judgment as well. I think Disasi, there are times where he doesn't make good judgment. Chalobah always rated Chalobah, man. I always thought that there is someone there. And when I say I rated him, it's not really a compliment. I still think there's so many things Chalobah needs to improve on. But that is being compared with the likes of Rudiger back then and Christensen. Do you know what I mean? Like I always thought it's good to have a Chalobah in and around them. Center backs. Like it's good to learn from them. But now Chalobah all of a sudden he's like the senior guy in the team. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, nah, he needs to still improve. But when you then have your Desasis, and Badiashile had a very good game. I'm not going to take it away from him, but I need to see a lot. I need to see consistency from Badiashile before I start going crazy about him. And I know people will say, oh, last season it was great. No. I need a full catalogue of a season where he's solid. And then only I can say, yeah, I've seen that from Chalobah under Thomas Tuchel. His growth, his dip, and then back up again. Where's the money going to come from, though, then, Matisse? Like, if we're not selling Chalobah, we're not selling Conor Gallagher, money's got to come from somewhere.
Well, I do think they'll probably sell these players. Well, they'll try to anyway. I wouldn't actually sell, but I think they will try to sell. Maatsen, Lewis Hall.
Lewis Hall's gone.
Bro is gone. Bro is absolutely gone. But for what price? Not much, probably. 15 million,
probably not
maybe.
Much. Maatsen's gone after what his dad said as well. It's done. Like that. There's no coming back from that.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Apparently, we need to raise 100 million, and then we don't know if those hotels, the 2 hotels, if they've been.
If that's going to count,
given the green. Yeah, like they've got to be given a green. I think if those 2, we're really banking on the hotels now. Those 2 hotels
play a monopoly.
They will keep or sell Conor Gallagher or Chalobah. If those 2 hotels don't go through, well, the 2 hotels of Gallagher and Chalobah are gonna have to go. If those 2 hotels go through, I think Maatsen, Breuer, Lewis Hall, their money should cover the rest of the deficit.
This is the funny thing, though. If they want to sell Gallagher so badly, they actually have to let Poch go. Because Pochettino is going to play Gallagher. For as long as Gallagher is in the squad, he's going to play him. And if you desperately need to sell him, you need to let Poch go at the end of the season. Otherwise, Gallagher's not going to move. And rightly so. If I was Gallagher and Pochettino was in charge doing pre-season, I'm not moving anywhere. I'm saying I'm staying here. I've had a good season. I've improved. And he has really improved.
He has. He has.
I would say I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here, and I'll just see out the end of my contract. And then if you want to offer me a contract in December, then let's talk. But you're going to be in a very weak position when those contract negotiations start. What you could have offered me in January of this year, of January of last year, what you're going to have to offer in December, if his agent isn't tapped and knows how to negotiate, you're going to have to offer something really nice, because you're now running the risk of losing me on a free. Because as soon as January starts, I can negotiate with any club I want and I can go for free. And people will say, oh, but if Gallagher's proper Chelsea, he shouldn't do that. No, fuck that. If Gallagher is just intelligent, he should do that. He should just do that. And that will be a real slap in the face to the owners to say, you don't have any control over players in their actual contract. You can ask, you can offer, you can hope, you can entertain. But if they don't sign on the dotted line, you're still in the same position. And it will just teach them a thing or two about the way that this sport goes in terms of players and how they're able to also operate, because they have obviously not seen Mbappe at PSG. So we need listen, if Gallagher has to be the sacrificial lamb for Cobham and he's the symbol, then go for it. Then go for it. Because I don't think the model I don't think the model we're heading down, or the route we're heading down, has been particularly wise anyway. So if he's the person that has to be the kind of sacrificial lamb, and maybe he does go at the end of his contract, but they'll be pissed if he does that.
Bro, this is what I've said. Do you remember when we just talked about the Enzo situation? If Poch stays next season, which is quite likely, it might happen, because who are we going to get? Do you know what I mean? So it's quite likely it may happen. And if he does end up getting Europa League spot, it definitely is happening that he'll stay. I've said it time in, time out. If Poch stays next season, Gallagher has to stay. And consequently, Enzo will have to either go or be benched. Like, Gallagher is his guy. And he even said it post-match against Spurs yesterday, that he don't know anything about the contract situation with Gallagher. That's between the player and the club. But he said, he starts for me. Like, he's my main starter. The rest is for you to decide. I've told you what I had to tell you. He's my starter.
Yeah.
Now you decide what you want to do. So you're going to keep Poch, and you're going to sell players that he likes in the likes of Gallagher, in the likes of Chalobah. I don't know if you remember, Matisse, Chalobah started off as the captain in the preseason. Do you remember? The very first game, Chalobah was the captain.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Chalobah would have stayed on if he didn't get injured.
Yeah. And he had a record at Southampton and Tottenham for bringing through academy players. Obviously, in this team, people have been frustrated with maybe some lack of debuts, but
Gilchrist is, he's
Gilchrist has
bringing him
obviously
up.
come through. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you, bro. This is why whenever he used to say, we're all together, we need to be patient. This is very similar to Arteta and Edu and Klopp and Edwards and Pep and Tiki. These silly comparisons, I always shut it down, because I was like, you are trying to lie. You're actually trying to lie. You know that you are not on. You know that you're not in sync with the directors. So why are you lying? I can see you're not in sync with the directors. It's obvious. It's not rocket science. Either the directors are recruiting for you, or they're recruiting for somebody else, or they're recruiting for nobody, which is probably the case.
They're recruiting for the owners. Do you know what I mean? They're recruiting for the owners, because whoever can fetch them the highest level of money down the track. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Someone was saying, what did we think of Poch's press conference? Do you think he did speak in a way that would say that he knows that his job is on the line and that he knows that he could potentially be sacked. I mean, all of the talk from Fabrizio has been at the end of the season it will be decided.
I don't know whether he talked. I know a lot of people are saying that this is the vibe they're getting, that he talked in a way that he thinks he's a man who thinks he's job is gone. I'm not sure whether that's how he portrayed. Well, that's not how I felt he portrayed himself. I kind of felt that he's fed up with the constant sort of like that scrutiny from media, the journalists always asking him post match, you know, are you going to be here and this, that, the other, like yet another loss. What do you think? I think he's just fed up that people are constantly insinuate, or the media is trying to insinuate that he's one of the biggest issue here. Obviously, us fans, we feel that I still feel he needs to probably go, unless he somehow miraculously makes it into the Europa League spot.
Yeah.
And then fine, no problems, let's go again. But then up until December is the time I need to see clear improvement next season. But I felt that was more of his frustration, that stop giving me that vibe every single game after every single game, whether I'm staying or I'm going, or he's trying to say that decision's not on me. That's on the owners. And I get the feeling these owners, off the back of what they did with Graham Potter last season, they're not going to just hastily move a manager again. Do you know what I mean, Matisse? Like, they're not going to just listen to the fan and then just move another manager on. I think these owners, they've shown it this season. They're far more resilient in keeping a manager. There were multiple times to get rid of Pochettino this season. Multiple times. How many times after our battering we said,
Bro,
if that club statement doesn't come out the next morning.
Bro, Arsenal 5-0 away. Arsenal
Everyone was
5-0
waiting for
away.
that, right?
I was ready to sack everybody. I don't even know who would have sacked, because everybody was getting sacked. So who would have even done the sackings? I don't know. After Arsenal 5-0, my head was on Pluto. After Man United away, my head was on Pluto.
Yeah.
After what other game? There was one other game as well. Wolves at home.
Wolves was a bad one.
Wolves at home.
That was
Head
a bad
was
one.
on Mars. Those 3 times. Now, Man United, I actually didn't even call for it. Somehow. Don't know how I resisted. But I was
Wolves is when you first flipped.
Yeah, Wolves was the first time where I was like, yeah, you lot have lost me here. You lot are seriously losing me here. And Arsenal away, I mean, I'd already, at that point, it's just doubling down. But the thing is, I've always wanted Poch to do well. But he's just a very... He talks out of both sides of his mouth. And maybe it's a translation thing. Maybe it's English not being his first language. But if he just stuck to a story, this process this season would have been a bit easier, because sometimes I don't really usually care what's being said in the interviews unless I can't get anything from the pitch. Yeah. And then when I can't get anything from the pitch, I'm looking for answers somewhere, because I'm not able to get any answers on the pitch. So now I'm looking for answers somewhere else. If I could just get answers on the pitch, then don't really care what you're saying in the presser, to be honest. But yeah, he's just been going around in circles a bit. And I think my concern with him is that he's not a strong enough character to unravel everything that we've just spoken about. So if we know that they're not recruiting for him, and we know that they are still going to go down the road, if they are still going to go down the road of excessive extremism in their buying, someone's got to stand up to that. One of those people would hopefully be the manager, right? But he's not the type of person to stand up against the status quo. Because we saw under Daniel Levy, he had like 3 seasons. I know they did a stadium build, but they had like 3 seasons of no money, and he was chill with it. That's probably one of my biggest concerns. And then obviously some of the misprofiling, playing people out of position when I didn't really feel like it was necessary. But all that kind of stuff can really be forgiven and forgotten, because loads of managers can come in and do the same shit and we'll be complaining again about misprofiling. It's more about, is he the personality to get us through this situation? I think he's definitely getting along with the players. There's no beef. That's nice. But we've seen indecision. We've seen lack of discipline in the side. They've started to improve on the yellow cards and the red cards, which is good. The whole penalty situation was a shambles. Finally, that got sorted. So yeah, man, I don't like sacking managers, and you know, but at the end of the day, you know, we have to analyze it at the end of the season and come to a conclusion. I don't know who we'd bring in. The manager market is not fun. I saw Flick today linking.
I don't look that CFC Bayern. What's his name? What's that guy's name? Matisse.
Oh,
Christopher Falk.
yes.
Christopher
Is he
Falk? Is that
still?
his
Is he
name?
still doing all that? Yeah.
Christopher Falks. Christina
Yeah.
Falk. Is that his name? Christine? No, it
Christian
can't be
Folk.
Christina.
Christian Folk. Yeah. Christian Folk.
Christian Falk. Christian Falk. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not. I don't really buy into his news too often. I know when it comes to German news, he is good. Hansi Flick being German, yeah, okay, no problems. Unless it's coming from Fabrizio Romano and Orni,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not moving. Ruben Amorim is someone I think even now Fabrizio Romano started to talk about Ruben Amorim that he is keen on a Premier League move.
Yeah.
And we've seen footages of him going to West Ham for an interview. My only concern with Ruben Amorim is, brother, you went to Liverpool and Liverpool were dancing for you. You couldn't land the job there. You've also gone to West Ham and you couldn't land the job there. You've then come out and publicly said it was a mistake to do that. What's going on here, Ruben Amorim? Why can't you get a job?
I think he would have got the West Ham one. I think he rejected West Ham in the end.
Oh, did he? He didn't
Yeah,
like the project over there.
I think he did. Liverpool, I don't know what's happened there, but with the West Ham one, he definitely would have rejected them.
Does
'cause
Grizz know what happened with Amorim?
I think he said Xabi Alonso rejected Liverpool for sure
Yeah.
to stay at Bayer Leverkusen. Almerim was a bit more muddy. I'm not sure what's going on there. I need to ask actually. But is that the right guy for us? Is that the right guy? Is that the right guy to get the best out of Enzo, as we just said earlier? I don't know. I know De Zerbi would get the best out of Enzo. I think De Zerbi
definitely.
I think he would.
De Zerbi, I think, definitely would get the best out of him from the ones that are available. I've seen Amorim's game a few times this season, Sporting. I have to, especially the one against Atalanta in Europa League. I don't know if you caught that match, Atalanta versus Sporting. Okay. Atalanta was way too superior for Sporting. Obviously, then ended up being way too superior for Liverpool as well. But the only player that stood out for me when I was watching the Sporting games was Gyökeres. Gyökeres is someone as a striker. I think that is a Poch type of a striker, man.
I like him. I like him a lot.
Big, physical. He's mobile in the front three. He can drop deep, produce assists. He can finish up front. Yeah, he's ruthless. Right foot, left foot, header, everything. He's got a bit of height about him as well. The issue with
play championship as well, which is good.
Play championship. The issue with Gyökeres is I think he's got a release clause of about nearly 80 or 90 million pounds. So I don't know whether, but from every other aspect, age.
We keep ruling ourselves out with him. Remember?
Yeah, we keep. I don't know why we're so Fabrizio was driving that Osimhen bandwagon a lot, but Osimhen just from a numbers point of view just doesn't make sense. I know you don't rate him that way, Matisse. I still think under Pochettino, Osimhen might be actually quite good, but from a numbers point of view, it don't make sense. It's going to cost a lot of money, and we don't have amortization for 10 years anymore. It's 5 years, and he's going to be on a lot of wages. He's not coming here for 150k wage. You're curious. Apparently, he's on 40 he's on
he came from
40
Coventry.
grand. Yeah, he's on 40 grand a week euros in Sporting.
Yeah.
So even if you were to double his money, it's going to be peanuts if he comes to Chelsea.
The thing is with Osimhen is he's got more outstanding attributes, but he's also got bigger flaws. So I think Osimhen's highs are higher, but then his lows are low.
Low, yeah.
So he's not an elite finisher, but he's great in the air. He's a great presser. He's quick. He's good at being.
He's an engine. He'll be non-stop.
He's a good outlet, but technically sometimes he can be a bit average at times. Whereas not average, that's probably harsh, but technically sometimes he can be a bit inconsistent, I think. But I think Gyökeres is really well-rounded. He's nice 15 out of 20s in a lot of things, but he's probably not elite at anything, but he's very, very good at everything.
Yeah. He's effective. He's far more rounded. That's what you're
Yeah,
saying. Like he's
yeah.
more of an all-rounder. So, yeah, man. Look, from a manager point of view, I don't know who's available. If I'm being absolutely honest, which makes me think it is going to be Pochettino next season, unless something drastic happens. We lose our next game. We completely bottle the next 4 remaining games, and we finish 10th. Like then I think it might be written in the stars that Poch, you might need
Curtains.
to go. But if Poch can now, if you look at the last couple of games, Matisse, like
I'm gonna bring them up.
Aston Villa from the second half, we really should have won that game. That was a good comeback, and we
Yeah,
really shouldn't have been 2-0 down like that. And then obviously this game against Spurs, a quality team who's obviously going through a bit of a bad patch, of course. We can beat West Ham. I think then we go potentially above Newcastle, but obviously Newcastle got games and Man United got games as well. Man United, I'm pretty certain Man United this weekend, Matisse, they'll drop points against Crystal Palace. I'm quite positive.
I think they'll lose. I think they'll lose that game.
I wouldn't put it past it. I think Crystal Palace are good for the win there. Crystal Palace
Yeah,
under Oliver Glasner, I think will do the job against Man United. And Man United are in that strange spot where players are 50% there for Ten Hag, 50% not there for Ten Hag. Thomas Tuchel heavily linked with Man United as well. Is this a point where they're just down tools on the manager? Maybe.
yeah.
So if Poch can capitalize against West Ham, we could see ourselves being like 7th, maybe 6th
We need
by
to
the end of
be.
this
We need to
weekend.
be sixth. We need to be aiming for sixth for me. Sixth.
Yeah, well, 6th will give us Europa League, right? So yeah.
That's the table.
Do we have a far superior goal? Yeah, we got a superior goal difference to Man United.
Of course, yeah, their goal difference is shocking.
So if they lose against Crystal Palace, they'll probably go down to minus goal difference.
Yeah, they will.
And we win,
Or 0.
then that's it. We leapfrog them.
Yeah, so we could be. I hate playing these games because it always goes wrong. It always goes wrong, brother. Every time we play these games, it always goes wrong. But we could be effectively ahead of Manchester United come Monday night before Big Six starts. We're all on the same.
Yeah. Because Man United play Tuesday or something, right? Or
no, they play Monday night. They play Monday night.
Yeah.
So Big Six is after that. After that game, I'm gonna do a watch along for that Palace game.
That's gonna be good, bro. That's gonna be good,
bro. If we beat West Ham, that kind of puts a gap between us and them, which is needed, and between us and Bournemouth and Wolves and Brighton and all. We just need Brighton is done, but we need to put a gap between us, Wolves, Bournemouth, and West Ham. Right? We need to know going into the final 3 games that we're not going back behind any of those teams because we've been playing around in that mud for too long. Then we turn our attentions to Newcastle and Man United. Now, like I said, if Man United are to lose against Palace, which I think is likely,
it's very, very likely, bro. Very likely.
We actually beat West Ham at home. We go 54 points, better goal difference. We go into 7th. Newcastle play because you see me. If we're gonna do this, we have to do this now, and we have to do this quick. We have to do this quick. Like this needs to be a drive-by on Newcastle and Man United. It's the last 3 games, and it needs to be like that. Bang. Yeah. There's no time for fucking around now. Like we are literally right at the end of the season. We're making and I'm not talking about 7th, by the way, people. I'm not talking about Conference League. I'm talking about 6th. I'm talking about Europa League. Now Newcastle play Burnley away, who are fighting for their lives tomorrow.
That might not be easy, bro. That might not be easy.
They could drop points. They're fighting for their lives. Burnley, they need to pick up points. Take a look at Burnley in the table. Burnley are 19th. If Burnley are going to survive, they need to win that game. And they know that at home, Turf Moor.
Ooh,
if Newcastle, all Newcastle have to do is lose 1 game, and then we can talk about Newcastle. But right now, even if they are to draw and keep winning, we're not going to catch them because the goal difference is too good. So
Yeah, it's too
we
good.
need Newcastle to really lose a game. And their games are Burnley away, Brighton at home. They're going to beat Brighton at home. Man United away, which is a fun one.
That'll be a fun one. Yeah.
And we may even need Man United to win that game.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if they're going to lose against Crystal Palace, we need them to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Brentford away is the last one. I don't know what Tottenham is. Oh, is that a game in hand or is that a friendly? It's a friendly, right? So don't worry about that. So just forget that. So yeah, that's the situation. We need Newcastle to lose one game. We need Man United to lose one game as well.
Who we got?
They're both capable. They're both capable of doing. We have West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, and Bournemouth. If we want sixth, we should be able to win every single one of those games.
We got to win every single one, Matisse.
We have to win every game.
Do that.
Can we though? That's the question. Can we actually do that? Because we didn't beat Sheffield United and Burnley. So
I know, but when you look at that fixture, you go, well, you need to do that. If you want to finish 100%. Sixth, you need to do that.
If we don't win if we don't win all four of those games, we don't even deserve it anyway, in my opinion. But if we don't win all those games, we can have no complaints at all. I don't care what referee did what. No, if we don't beat these four teams in a row and make it 5 wins in the last 5, then that's it. It is what it is. Simple.
And
those fixtures are
that are below us. These teams are all below us.
Every single one of those teams are below us. All of them. The hardest game there will be Nottingham Forest away because they probably need to win to stay up.
Yeah.
All the other games is teams that are just chilling. Not chilling, but they should be on the beach.
Yeah.
And they are by the beach, some of them. So
I reckon we get the remaining 4 if we do. I know we're getting carried away now, but
we're not even getting carried away really. I didn't want to bring it up yesterday, but that's the season's end. Like we're not even going that far into the future. That's it. It's the end of the season now.
We get 4 out of 4 wins. I'm pretty certain we're 6th. I'm pretty certain because I fully believe Man United or Newcastle are going to drop points. I fully believe that.
I'm not sure Newcastle will lose. I think they might draw a game. I don't know if they're going to lose a game. Man United definitely will lose a game.
How is their fixture again? How is Newcastle's fixture again?
Newcastle have got the toughest game maybe is Burnley away and Man United away. They've got
something's got to give between the Man United game, right? Something's got to give.
Do you know what? Newcastle, the last 4 games, they got 3 away. So
that's
3 away games in the last 4 is not easy. It's not easy. Burnley away, Man United away, Brentford away. I think if they have to beat Brentford, they'll beat Brentford. I think. Brentford is still tough. It's tough. Brentford's not an easy team to play against.
No, it's not easy, bro. It's not easy. It's going to be mad, bro. If we, honestly, Matisse, I'm not like, do you remember start of this season, you were asking for everyone's expectations in the All You Can Eat Chelsea episode. And I said, look, after what we did last season, 12th, if we can come 6th, that's progress. I remember saying that, and you were categorically telling me, nah, F that, man. No, Champions League or nothing. Champions League or nothing. And I'm like, no, I hear you. After the transfer, market that we had, we should be aiming for top 4. But if we can get Europa League, that's progress. So for me,
if we can get Europa League, I'll definitely be. I'll be ending the season in a happier place, 100%.
Bro, if we can come 6th and give us an opportunity to be in Europa League, that's something to work for from next season.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I expected this season to be. But because this season was so... Because you don't need to have our kind of season to be 6th. You could still have a Spurs kind of a season and Spurs are 5th. Do you know what I mean? Like Spurs on 60 plus points. So
yeah, we're not catching them.
We're not catching them.
But we just need to win our games.
Yeah. I reckon if we can come 6th, get into Europa, we'll look into. I'm happy to give Poch another go if he makes it to Europa. Like I'm happy, but he'll have a cutoff for me. He'll have by December next season. This year,
is there a winter break? Again, January. Remember
season?
We had that we had time off. Remember we had 2 weeks no Premier League football in January.
You mean for next season? Do we have a winter break?
Is there another one? Do you think?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. Yeah, we had the 2 weeks off this season, didn't we? We had the 2 weeks off. I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. But if we can somehow make it into Europa League, that's something to work towards, and that gives us another avenue to make it into Champions League. Matisse, like Europa
Yep.
League is another
Well,
ticket.
we are asking them to show consistency that they've not shown all season. We've not won 5 games in a row all season. It's not
Yeah,
happened. So what we're asking for sounds very simple, but it's not
it's not.
from this group. To ask this group to win 5 games in a row is like asking for, I don't know. It's like asking for a Lamborghini.
Yeah, we're asking them to be clutch when these players they crumble when it comes to pressure. So, but this will
is
give
it.
us a
It's make
good.
or break. It's make or
It's
break.
make or break. This is where I get to see who belongs next season and who doesn't. Do you know what I mean? If we get 4 out of 4 wins and the starting lineup is Madueke, Mudryk, Cole Palmer, and these lot, then you can go, do you know what? Maybe all of these deserve to get an opportunity again next season. But if we see that we still end up coming like 8th,
We also need
9th,
to keep
10th,
people fit. The medical team is going to play a huge role in this run. Can they actually
look,
keep these last 11 players we have fit?
they have to stay fit. And some of these brothers like Malo Gusto, I need you to come back as quickly as possible. Help this team out for the remain. Because Malo Gusto's, ability on that right side will help us in the remaining games as well. As well as Gilchrist has done. He's still a newbie. Need Malo Gusto back. And then I don't know, man. Like, can we expect there is footages
I'll be honest.
of
I'm not what we just discussed. I'm not expecting it to happen.
yeah, fair enough.
I'm not expecting it to
Fair
happen.
enough.
I'll be honest. I'm not. But I'd be pleasantly and more than happy to be surprised by this run if we were to do
More than
it.
you can believe. More than you
Yeah.
can believe. But yeah, if we the footages that we've seen recently of Nkunku playing in team training and I don't know. Was there pictures of Reece James as well? Look, Reece James, I'm happy to just pack it away, just start next season. But if Nkunku can somehow manage to come back into the bench, give us some minutes off the bench for the last 4 games, or even not the next one, which is very quick, but the last 3,
Yeah.
I'll take that. I'll take Nkunku off the bench as well, just
Mm-hmm.
to give us a little bit more firepower off the bench. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
100%. Well, there you are, guys. What a show! Really good show. Strong show today.
Top.
That's the breakdown and the post match kind of chit chat and quickly we turn our attentions to West Ham. I don't know what time the press conference is. If anybody knows in the chat, let me know. But that press conference has got to happen. We just need to check everybody's still fit because someone could be injured again. And then we can do our previews for West Ham, and then we can move on to Sunday. The next game is very soon. And we need to beat West Ham, but we also need to pay attention to that Burnley Newcastle game at 3:00 because that's very important. Very important. I think it's that or it's Old Trafford, and you're not going to get. I don't think you're going to get the other ones. I think that or Old Trafford, and obviously we'll be watching Palace at Man United.
Bro,
we could this weekend get the perfect weekend. I'll
and
leave
be
you on this.
6th.
We could get the perfect weekend. Newcastle lose to Burnley.
Yes.
Man United lose to
David
Palace.
Fofana scores.
Yes. Man United lose to Palace, and we beat West Ham. And then we're in 6th. I'm gonna leave it there. Big up everybody. Make sure you check out the other side of the coin on YouTube. Regular content. The review is up. It's up. It was difficult for it to go YouTube to process it, but it did make it there eventually. For me, today I will drop the preview for West Ham after the press conference later this evening. I will record with Lawless, I think, today, and that will probably drop tomorrow evening. Here at studio, and then Arsenal Bournemouth watch along on lunchtime kickoff, and then Chelsea watch along after that. So guys, big up your damn selves. Subscribe to the YouTube channels. Join this room if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys next time. Big up. Next week, the full panel hopefully will be returning, and we will have our big therapy session if everything goes wrong. In a bit, people. Peace.
So,